trouble when you have a panic attack. That's
Excuses.
how it is. Like,
But you're not having a panic attack. You
I'm
wasn't
feeling
having a panic
panic.
attack.
I'm feeling panicked.
Got wars everywhere. We just feel it's a very toxic place to raise a kid
What?
right now.
That doesn't make sense.
90 Day Fiance The Other Way continues with everyone moving out of the United States, deciding it's a good idea to go to another country, and no one succeeding. But maybe this time's the one. I don't know. I have yet to see a week where it seems like there's some positive impact or some positive outlook that might come our way, but we will see. Statler and Dempsey continue to struggle with living in a van because that was a good idea from the get-go. Sean and Joanne seem to be struggling with the fact that they have to admit that they're married still to their kids, and his daughter doesn't even know they're together, which is interesting in and of itself. Shekinah and Sarper seem to be struggling with the fact that they fight all the time, and he is about this close to potentially actually putting his hands on her. He snatched a phone away from her, accidentally tore out her extensions, but yet they can't quit each other, and they both have negative impacts on the relationship. That is fun. And James and Tata seem to have an issue with the kids because she wants them, he doesn't. But did they actually agree in the beginning that they might? That is to be determined, but we will get right into it. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Got some videos coming up later in the week. Check it out. Might have some about some future things we're going to do, so make sure you look into that as well. Let's get it.
It just hurts me that I'm not trusted.
I do trust you. There's just always this nagging voice at the back of my head saying, hey, every time you trust a person, they let you down.
Okay, so that is not trust. This is the problem, and this has been what's going on. They can't, from money to what they're actually doing to their completely polar opposite personalities, they have had these issues since day one. And now you're saying, I do trust you. It's just there's this thing in my head telling me not to trust you, and I listen to it. That's called not trusting you. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some questions about Statler, or there were some questions about Dempsey, not Statler, Dempsey actually withholding some money, but every time that has come up, it's turned out that it has been actually told to Statler, and she's either forgetting or selectively not revealing things. So the question is, who should have the real trust issues here? Because this just looks like misery in a van, and yet they seem to just be kind of rolling along hoping that it works. It's not looking positive. Then they are going to get on a ferry to actually go to France, and it seems to start to unravel again.
The whole time, like, I knew this was coming at some point. I hate boats. The awful thing
Because?
about boats is you can't get off.
Says the person who just flew for like 10 hours on a plane, and can you get off of those? I venture to say you can't. At least with a boat, you have a chance when it's going down to float in the water. I get people have phobias, I understand that, but every time she tries to make an excuse and explain why she feels the way she feels, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Not an inkling. Not at all. So either she needs to get better explaining why she's feeling the way she's feeling, or she's just full of it because she's uncomfortable in a certain situation, or she just doesn't want to do something, and she likes to blame it on things like her anxiety, which gets a little interesting.
Your energy is a little high, though.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Your energy is high, and I'm excited. This is the problem. She wants to be extremely pessimistic. Dempsey wants to be extremely optimistic, and Statler does not want to come in and be like, I'm going to feel good a little bit because this isn't something she really wanted to do. Why is she here? That's the big question. Why is she even here? She'll claim it's for love, but yet it's every bit of the way is negative. That's not love at all. Now, can two people who are very different complement each other? Absolutely, it happens all the time. Some even might argue that people who are so much alike may come into some issues themselves, but having opposites can help. These two, though, are so polar opposite, I don't know if they can actually find the common ground.
When the anxiety hits, I'm in zero control of it. It's a ship with no captain. I am just hanging on for dear life, and do I want to be having this reaction? Absolutely not.
It seems like she's making some excuses, considering the fact that she doesn't seem to be out of control at all. She just seems to be really kind of not a nice person at this point, and yet these are how she makes excuses. I'm just out of control of it. To excuse her extremely negative, extremely pessimistic, extremely off-putting behavior. It's just a way to explain it away. It's like a kid trying to explain why they had a bad behavior or something, never taking accountability, never saying, maybe I need to work on being a little more positive. Nope, just, this is why, I don't have any control over it, get over it, you have to deal with it too. That's it. Is that something you want to be around?
I've even like sent her articles about how to kind of handle somebody who's going through a panic attack. And in this moment, I'm just like, she's read none of that.
Whatever you sent her doesn't matter, because the fact is you want attention, you want to be negative, you want her to focus on you and be like, okay, whatever you say, it's all good. I'll listen to you, whatever you say, because you sent her articles about your anxiety that you claim is so bad that I don't really buy you actually have. Maybe you have some form of anxiety, but these panic attacks you claim to have and how bad it actually is, I don't believe you. I don't think you're telling the truth.
Sometimes you get irritable when you have a panic attack. That's
Excuses.
how it is. Like,
But you're not having a panic attack. You wasn't having a panic attack.
I'm feeling panicked. You're not having a panic attack, but I'm feeling panicked. What the hell is wrong with this girl? She is trying to make every excuse in the book, and yet then after they get off the boat, she's going to be like, I'm sorry. Okay, let's pull over in front of this ocean. It's a nice view. Let's get back there and do some weird stuff. Like, lady, what are you both doing here? Like, for as positive as Dempsey is, she needs to be off somewhere being with someone who's positive, and Statler just needs to be by herself, negative, in her own apartment, back in the United States, because all she's doing is bringing this whole thing down, and it is going to continue to stay that way. Nothing's going to change, and you know what? It's sad, because every week you hope something changes, you hope there is some compromise, but there's just not. There's just not. It continues on the negative route, and that is exactly what is going to continue to happen. So, I'm here for the train wreck. Let's continue to watch it. So, moving on, Sean and Joanna are in Ireland, and it is time for them to start the process of actually admitting that they're married, even though they've done it backwards. His daughter doesn't even know they're together, and the sons have no clue that they're married, neither does the friend. The only person that knows now is the mom, and she's not even there. So, now they have to start the process of even seeing if the boys will like him, and then going on to the next step, which is not going to go over well.
After breakfast, the plan is for the boys and Sean to bond without me present so that they get to know one another better.
Without any estrogen around.
Okay, so yes, you've been with him for several years, but this is the first time you're introducing your boys. Do they need some one-on-one time to get to know him? Sure. You are in like the first day, and you're going to send him off with the boys that have never met him, putting your kids in an uncomfortable situation and hoping for the best. Doesn't seem like a very good thing to do. I mean, if you want to go off and be like, all right, y'all go over here and do this while I'm over here, okay, whatever, I guess, but you are just introducing them and you're like, hey, go hang out with this guy that you just met for the first time. I understand y'all talked on the phone a little bit, but that's not the same.
Your relationship has been, I don't know. I haven't heard much about it from my mom.
Say what? Confused?
You knew we were together, right?
No, I knew you were together, but it's just
okay, so obviously he's bothered by that a little bit because you knew we were together, right? Because the son ends up saying, I haven't heard a whole lot about your relationship. And he's, what? We've been together all these years and you haven't heard a lot about the relationship, which says she's trying to avoid the fact that they're married and they're going to have to admit it eventually. But either way, you leave even the more skepticism in your sons, and that's going to continue to kind of marinate, and they're going to come in with an even more kind of hesitant view because you've been so secretive about it. How do you think this is going to be a good thing? Either way, they have a long way to go, and when they finally do admit, which it seems like maybe in the next episode, they have a whole kind of pull the Band-Aid off moment where it's like, yeah, we're married. If they think everyone's going to be like, that's just so adorable and just embracing everything, they got another thing coming. Not good. Not good. Sarper and Shekinah have been the most volatile of all the couples, I will say, even so much so as Sarper ripping her phone out and her extension by extension, by accident, but it happened, and over a vanity or something. It's really dumb, but these are the two that can't seem to quit each other. You know, the whole you complete me and you had me at hello, corny ass stuff that they seem to be wanting you to believe is going on, when in reality, it's nothing but fight, 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 and make up. You know, make love, make up. I don't know. Fight, 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 make up. Fight, 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 make up. It's not a relationship that is going to sustain the test of time.
This experience as, you know, a big learning opportunity, then I don't know how this relationship can continue.
It doesn't. Let's be real. It doesn't continue if y'all together can't come in on some kind of understanding or some kind of, okay, we're going to figure this out, and not just fight about stupid crap. I mean, he acts like a man-child. You clearly don't have maturity on your side when you up and left your daughter at some boarding school to move over to Turkey for the love of your life, when, you know, I guess the lust of your life really would be a better descriptor of it, but I digress. They are going to continue to try to work it out.
So overwhelming
Excuses
for me.
What was so overwhelming for you? Overwhelming for you, first of all? That I wanted a vanity?
Everything, Shekinah. I mean, the K1, the future plans, telling to my family, so much tension I had.
Everything was extremely overwhelming that I decided to say, I'm going to buy you that vanity, and absolutely lose my mind because you said no. Seems like a guy that really is owning up to his mistakes. Does it not? Listen, I think that they would make the best reality show ever. Just them two have their own reality show, their own A Day in the Life of Sarper and Shekinah, or just, you know, them living over in Turkey or whatever. Fine. But if they actually want a real relationship to last, then he's going to have to take some accountability, and so is she when she does wrong. He was wrong in this instance. She's been wrong too at points. They're going to have to find a way to take accountability, because neither one of them are good at that.
And I'm also doing so because I'm a mother, you know, and I always think about what I would be okay with my daughter allowing for herself, and I would never want her to tolerate this kind of disrespect.
But you would want to put her in a boarding house while you move halfway around the world, and she doesn't have her father because he's not there either. He put her in the boarding house. You have her in this boarding school, and you're living your life in Turkey, and yet I would want to think about what my daughter would think of this. Your daughter might think I need a mother, even if she didn't say it. Like, what? These people trying to give parenting tips when they just, you know, pawn their kid off somewhere is ridiculous to me. And it's just, it gives you no credibility. You have zero. This is where she falls short. She's trying to use her kid as an example, saying, I wouldn't want her to be with a man like this, or would I? Well, you don't want your kid to be around you at all right now. You claim to be this fantastic mother who's going to go back and visit and do all these things. You could have just been there, but instead you moved to Turkey for yourself. So, not a really selfless thing to do, but I just won't take your advice on this one. James and Tata have their own issues going on, and it doesn't help that at this point she is actually torturing him.
It's like coin and then oil, and then you use the coin for massage it.
Is she beating him?
It's like help the blood and clear out the toxin in your body.
No, it doesn't. You wounding him and causing all kinds of red, blood-filled streaks on his back is not helping. I don't care what you say. I don't care how he lies about it later, saying he feels great. I'm just going to tell you right now, he lies. He says he feels great. He lied. Because, damn, look at his back, man. He looks like he got beat by a bamboo rod. What the hell? Now, she finally decides to confront him about the whole I want kids thing, and you don't seem to want kids thing. So, is it going to sway him? Is it going to sway her? Can their relationship survive? Find out next. No. Can it, though? We shall see.
Do you think you just don't want to have a kid?
That is the question.
Period? Or
I haven't really completely made up my mind about that yet.
But?
Leaning more in that direction for sure, though. Yeah, lately that's kind of been my mindset.
Because?
It's just the way the world is today. Got wars everywhere. We just feel it's a very toxic place to raise a kid right now.
That doesn't make sense.
You make absolutely no sense. It's a toxic place to raise a kid because the wars in the world. Dude, you know how you create a better environment for your kids? You are a positive role model for your children. You bring them into the world. You protect them. You teach them how to be good, upstanding citizens. And you know what that creates? Good, upstanding citizens. And if people continue to do that, you know what happens with the world that you say is so toxic? It improves. You know what happens if people don't have kids and don't take that mindset? Guess who continues to run the world? The bad, toxic people. This ends this education lesson. This dude has problems. It's fine he doesn't want kids. That's fine. But he's making every excuse in the world, trying to seem like some sort of martyr because he's trying to not bring a child into this horrible world that he seems to think it is, when in reality, it's most likely him just for whatever reason not wanting to have a child. Instead of being honest, he's making every excuse in the book, and I don't believe you.
You're supposed to have a kid to make your relationship strong.
Ooh. Eeh.
So maybe we have a kid, it will make our relationship strong.
Okay, so they both have really bad reasons behind why they want what they want. He doesn't want kids, claiming it's because he doesn't want to bring a kid into this toxic, horrible world that he lives in and seems to be just fine. In fact, so fine that he decided to move to Indonesia, where you can't have as good of a life as in America. Good job, buddy. And also, it seems like she's making every excuse to try to fix what she finds wrong in the relationship. Also, not a good reason to bring kids into the world. Now, kids are a fantastic thing. Being a positive role model to children is a feeling like no other. You race for it, you fight for it. That is a great thing. But if you don't want to have kids or can't, it happens. That for one reason or another, it happens. But you making every negative excuse to have or to not have is not going to end well. And they really got to work this out and figure out what route they're going and why they're doing it. Because if they end up having kids just because to fix their relationship that's negative, bad. If they don't have kids because of the toxic world, bad. At some point, you're not going to have the option anymore. So good luck with all of that. They need therapy.
Because before we are married, we're talking about we're gonna have a kid.
What?
It's gonna be fun, and then it's gonna be little us running around the house. Can you imagine how beautiful that?
Yes,
be, you know?
And you know what makes that so jacked up is they were talking about this, him included, before they were married, talking about what it would be like to have kids, how it would be great to have little thems running around the house, and now all of a sudden, no, toxic world, no, bad, bad, bad. How about you led the girl on and you probably never wanted kids? Be honest. You know what fixes relationships? You know what helps relationships? Honesty. You're honest with the person up front throughout all of that, and you can work through things. Or you can decide whether it's not going to work. That's what honesty does. And then you're actually respectful to that person. Instead, when you're lying from the get-go for whatever reason, and now you're on polar opposite sides, it's not a good thing. And it's going to end up being the demise of your relationship. It may not be today, may not be tomorrow, may not be a few years from now. But it's not going to last unless you fix some really major things. Whew. Therapy all around. Let's go ahead and get the therapists in there and get some televised, covered therapy, because that'll probably do well, or it will just lead to more ratings because it would be more of a train wreck. But that's for another episode, another day. I appreciate you joining me. Make sure you look for those videos later in the week. Thank you for all the support. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks again, and I will see y'all next time.